What do you want to talk about this week? Former Premier of British Columbia, Mike Harcourt. The same thing we talk about every week, Eric. How you fucked up my name last week. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. I didn't. You're all very old, and it's hard to. 604-336-3896. Call the complaint line, because that's what it is now. It's not just a talk line, 336-3896. I don't know my own phone number. 604-336-3896. That's the call number you call. Leave a message or call live, whatever you want to do when the show is live. It's not live yet. It will be live hopefully in 2 weeks. We're going to do a live show. Going to get Brendan in here to do some control and stuff. We're going to have, it's been me solo. Amir's taking a break. He's busy doing stuff. Life gets in the way. What are you going to do about it? So I'm just doing this here on my own with Mike Harcourt. That's who this is. Last week, callback, I said this is former Premier Bill Vander Zalm, which is incorrect, which is why I'm now calling it the complaint line, because Joseph Planta, bless his heart, called to complain. No, he didn't complain. He just pointed out. He made it obvious what I had screwed up, which was this gentleman's name. Yeah, you idiot. My name's Mike, not that fool Vander Zalm. Well, I don't know if we should call him that. He was probably great too. I don't know what either of you did, to be honest. I'm a young guy. I don't know you old guys. Okay, that's enough. So that's why we're doing this. So Joseph Planta called about me naming the puppet wrong, and this is what he said.
Hey, Eric, it's Joe Planta calling. I noticed with your most recent video, you had the puppet, and you said it was Bill Vander Zalm. I think it's a Mike Harcourt puppet. Anyway, love the work you're doing. Talk soon.
And so I had to correct myself, because that's what we do here. But I also have this guy, who's not as broken as Mr. Harcourt, and I think I know this guy's name, but I'm not sure, so I want you to call in and tell me who this is for sure, so I don't look like a moron again. Third show in, second show in, I'll look like an idiot again. I'm gonna look like an idiot a lot, but not on purpose. Anyways, who's this guy, Joe? Call in again. 604-336-3896. No, thanks for calling in. Joe's great. The commentary.ca, check him out. He interviews, he's that guy that, he's like a Vancouverite. He's like a true guy. He's been here, he's interviewed everybody in the media. He's like the sleeping guy in the corner that's, every time you walk by him, you just pay him homage because you know who he is and he knows everybody. And if you don't, you get in a little bit of trouble, if you know what I'm saying. That's Joseph Planta, the commentary.ca. You saw it on the bottom there. So that's what, anyways, Joe complained. It is bike season. I mean, all year round it's bike season. But in Van City, the summer gets a little packed for those bike lanes sometimes. And there's this buzz that happens. There's this thing that sort of happens to the people in the bike lanes, and I don't know. Hey man, why is your bike so loud? Okay, that so much crotch. Today we're going to talk about prison libraries. After this, the mental health check is on abandonment because some things have happened in my life I'm going to share, and it's all tied in with that because I got a bad case of it through my life of these issues that we deal with. So that's going to be the mental health stuff. For right now, it's prison libraries. We're talking about the cuts to prison libraries and just how costly removing these services can be, even more than how much we're cutting, which is, it's 132 million from the budget from the prison's budget needs to be cut, but I believe it's 18 library attendants or library workers. Like, what is the actual cost of that? I didn't break it down because I'm not good at math, but it can't be that. Librarians don't make a lot of money. Prison people that work at prisons probably don't make a lot of money either. I'm gonna keep it real. Maybe a good pension because it's the government, but how much are we paying these library attendants that 18 of them have to get hacked to make some quick money? That I don't like it. The Canadian government recently made a bunch of cuts to the federal budget. Some are wondering what the Prime Minister is up to.
So a new report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives estimates that by 2028, up to 67,000 public service jobs could be lost over the next 3 years.
Alternatively, there is a lot of confidence in Prime Minister Carney's ability to get us through the financial troubles of the future, but running a country like a business, I just don't like it. Just because you're good at running a country doesn't mean you're going to be doing the other thing, or vice versa. Just because you're good at running a business doesn't mean you're going to be good at running a country. Wolfgang Merkel, very German, and his study on capitalism is compatible with democracy, or the study is on if capitalism is compatible with democracy. Capitalism, business, and democracy follow different logics. Unequally distributed property, I'm reading from the study by the way, rights on the one hand, equal civic and political rights on the other. Profit-oriented trade within capitalism in contrast to the search for the common good with democracy. Debate, compromise, majority decision-making with democratic politics versus hierarchical decisions made by managers and capital owners. Capitalism is not democratic. Democracy is not capitalism. But the point is, this man lives in that world, and he is also learning how to be a politician at the same time he's running a country, which is, it's a lot of stress. Like, oof, he's probably got sweaty pits a lot. I would. I would sweat a lot if I was the Prime Minister. But what happens when you treat a country like a business? You cut essential services. The very thing that government is actually supposed to provide.
Canadians could soon learn which federal programs could be cut as the government implements its plan to find billions of dollars in savings. Unions say the government has been anything but transparent.
We swear an oath to the government, to the people of Canada, and to be treated this way is difficult, and services will suffer. Cuts today are crises tomorrow, and that's the big fear we have because we don't have those details. We don't have those details, and we've been wanting to see them.
Politicians shouldn't be bringing their Bitcoin crazy business ideas to public service. I'm looking at you, Ken Sim Shady.
You probably don't like me.
No, Mayor. No, Mayor Sim Shady. We don't like you. Some have equaled the Carney cuts to the Doge and Elon Musk's ban of complete morons and their spending cuts. Prime Minister Carney has been slicing since day one back in March 2025. CTV reports he shuffled Kamal Khera, the former Minister for Diversity, Inclusion, and Persons with Disabilities, to the Minister of Health. And the previous position was eliminated. The position of Minister for Women and Gender Equality and Youth, a role previously held by Marcy Len, is now gone. Disability Without Poverty's National Director Rabia Keter says the Cabinet's decision sends a clear signal that the accessibility and inclusion of people with disabilities are not a high priority. Remember those numbers we just mentioned? The ones about job loss in the federal government? That sees 2028 cut by 2028, cutting 14,000 people from the CRA alone, all for a measly $2 billion increase in military spending. Even with that large of an investment, it's like giving a few extra sticks and rocks to throw at America if they decide to invade. Because that's what this is about, isn't it? Sovereignty, Arctic, green, all that stuff. We got to worry about that. Canada has more support tugboats than it does frigates. All of the Canadian ships needed a tow in any war, if any of them did, which they probably will if we get into any war. All of our ships will probably sink. We have enough tugboats to tug every single ship and have a few left over. And being Canadians, we would probably end up tugging the enemy ships. Hey, sorry buddy, sorry for shooting you down there, eh? Have a tug. One of the most damaging cuts of all this stuff though, jokes aside, comes to prison libraries. And I know you probably don't care about prisoners, they're just scumbags. Let's just drop them in a hold and leave them there. Man, they made a choice. They should pay the consequences. Yes, consequences should be paid. But when the consequences of crime are confinement without rehabilitation, what are we doing? That's a sentence to just be resentenced. It's a re-sentencing. Just tossing a problem aside never fixes anything. Just ask my daddy issues.
Cuts to prison libraries could be coming as part of the federal government's budget reductions. The union representing library technicians says up to 18 of its members may be on the chopping block. And as CTV's Jeff Keel explains, advocates say this could cost society more in the long run.
For 10 years, Karen Monkman was a teacher at Stony Mountain Institution, where she says the library was a sanctuary.
I saw the toughest men turn into the most loving dad just opening that book.
Librarians are honestly the probably most effective people in prisons. Who needs a shushing more than a hardened criminal? You, 15-time offender, shh. Like, the reaction is probably amazing. They probably really listen. A librarian shushes ya? You remember that shit for life, son. The Times columnist reports Carl Kavanagh, a retired Victoria librarian who helped create the library at the Greater Vancouver Island Regional Correctional Centre, better known as the Wilkinson Road Jail in 2011, also has concerns about the move. Kavanagh still volunteers there but worked at the Greater Victoria Public Library when the project began. He said bringing books to inmates has been the highlight of his 40-year career. Kavanagh implemented a book request service that saw 1,000 requests in its first 5 years. Do the math. It's pretty decent. But a library is more than just materials, says Kavanagh, adding that removing a library with a technician from William Head would have a profound effect on the relationships inmates have with the space. If we just lock people up and let them sit angry in a cage for 10 years and expect them to leave and not re-enter society committing crimes, you have the outlook of a labubu. We seem to have lost some sympathy for our offenders, and we don't have to sympathize with all of them, but a lot of them, there is room for it. In many instances, gangsters are taught by the people that are supposed to love them and care for them. Instead, irresponsible adults ingrain certain ways of living into a child's mind and life, and that's the way the child knows. It's hard to leave the life you're taught to live as a child. They don't have a lot of choices. For a lot of people, it's about the lack of other people to support them in their lives. That's why people turn to gangs and that life. The sense of brotherhood, until that brother steals your shit and you have to blocka. That's the problem. So until we understand a little more of what that experience is like, perhaps we should reserve judgment just a little or give space for it. Also, the ridiculously disproportionate amount of Indigenous people in prison, if we're tossing people in prison just because they're Indigenous, then they should get the support that they deserve.
There have been 3 audits of corrections in 2022 alone. All say Indigenous inmates have worse outcomes than other offenders. They're released later in their sentence, overrepresented in use of force, overrepresented in maximum security institutions, overrepresented in structured intervention units. Can you tell us why that is?
The challenge of Indigenous offenders is very much a systemic challenge. Definitely within the overall justice system, Correctional Services Canada has a job to do. We continue to struggle. I mean, we continue to see our admission rates for Indigenous offenders continue to at least remain steady, if not to go up a bit up on the rise in the last number of years.
If we're going to take the lives of innocent people at that rate, then we should give him a chance to build back a life, gain trust, and in many cases, when it comes to Indigenous people, well, all cases, just give a little back of what we fucking stole from them. A simple thing like choosing to interact with a friendly person that has a kind smile in a library, the technician, that can help them achieve goals and bring positivity, not only to their own lives, but to the inmates around them.
It's a big concern and really short-sighted.
The John Howard Society of Manitoba says those technicians also assist inmates with job searches and connections in the community to help them reintegrate into society.
And to cut libraries is kind of especially cruel in that it's one of the few places where incarcerated people can learn.
Studies show, quote, even if having a choice only exists in theory, intuitively, people feel that the more options they have, the greater their chances are of finding the choice that will perfectly satisfy their needs, end quote. If you have never been given a choice, then the satisfaction of having your needs met mentally and physically is most likely going to be positive. Choosing to get up and read instead of perhaps making toilet wine is probably a positive choice and easy for everyone. When you actually have a choice, the choice is a little easier and outcomes become a little better.
Oh, Jesus.
So, like many prison inmates, I'm sure, I suffer from a lot of abandonment issues in my life. My father abandoned me. I feel abandoned by my mother a lot of the time. I blocked a lot of my childhood out because I just don't remember it because it was very traumatic. And I feel like I was abandoned a lot, and the memories I have don't involve her a lot. So I just don't recognize her as being in my life, even if it's just in my head. So I feel like in my adulthood, especially through my teenage years, I suffer from a lot of abandonment issues. And recently my stepsister, my sister, Caitlin Fox, her last name is now, it took me forever to find her because I couldn't remember her new damn last name because she got married. And she came back into my life, and that has brought a lot of issues of abandonment up. And at one point when I was trying to be in my father's life for the umpteenth time as a kid in my early 20s, I'd moved to Red Deer, and I was also trying to get back into Caitlin's life because we had separated for a while because life gets in the fucking way, and that's the only reason. But I just felt there was a lot of heads clashing with my brother, her, and my father, and just the tension. So I just chose to remove myself from that situation and just try and create a relationship with my father. That, was a dumb choice. Well, no, it wasn't a dumb choice. It was a choice I've made. And so that is just part of the feelings that come along with her coming back into my life, which is wonderful. I'm so happy about it. But it brings up those feelings and guilt too with what I did and the choices I made. Maybe I should have chose to have her in my life, but I'm a kid that wants his father, and felt abandoned by him. And so I needed to climb onto that and you know, have a father in my life or want a father in my life. So that brought up a bunch of stuff. And then now I'm gonna cry and I'm all alone. It's weird crying when you're alone, talking to no one, but talking to someone. Last week, I got diagnosed with some weird hell shit that's scary. And it's just an adjustment because I'm realizing that so many people have forever pills, which is what I have to take now. So I have a cholesterol condition where I produce cholesterol at a high rate or whatever the fuck I want. So diet doesn't make it possible to really have an effect on it. So I have to take a pill every day. And then possible arrhythmia, heart issues. And I also have other genetic things, but you know, I got this heart issue from my dead piece of crap dad who, you know, left me my whole life, brought so many other families into his life and left me. But then he left me this heart thing. And I know it's stupid, but that's what's hitting me the most. Beyond the, you know, I could have a stroke out or have a heart attack at any fucking moment. It's that, which really sucks because I'm trying to focus on myself to get through this, but now I have to go through that to get through this. But that fucked me up for like 3 days. I wasn't sleeping well. Nothing was working. And I know, like I said, a lot of people have something like this, but dude, it's weird. It's a weird adjustment when you've had so much power and control over your body your whole life. I get it now, I guess, getting old. But that's it. So dealing with a ton of abandonment issues and all that crap through the week. So that's the mental health check. So if you're having that feeling you're not alone at all, good Lord, I'm right here beside you. Call 604-336-3896. Leave a message and like Joe did and let me know. It's tough, but here's Abby with a little more on abandonment.
Hi, my name is Abby DeForest. I'm a licensed counseling therapist. A lot of people think abandonment only happens when someone physically leaves, but emotional abandonment can happen while someone is still in the room. It can happen when in childhood you were scared and no one noticed, or when your feelings were dismissed. It can happen when you learn that it's safer not to need too much or ask for too much, because when you did when you were a child, no one came to save you. And so then later in life, that same nervous system might panic when someone pulls away. Or you may chase after the person who makes you feel seen. Or you may shut down before they even get a chance. That's not overreacting. That's your body and your nervous system remembering what it learned about being abandoned or left alone. It's trying to protect itself. And if that part of you hasn't healed in adulthood, then you go back to the emotional state you were in when you learned that as a child. But I do have good news. You don't have to keep living like you're about to be left, because once you understand the pattern, you can change the story. I'm Abby DeForest. This has been a Truth Body Minute.
All right, I try to do this live with no edits. So that was that. And those are the tears for the day. And it's embarrassing sometimes. It's weird crying, like I said, to no one. But you're there, hopefully. Are you there? Email me. What's the email? Oh, leftcoastlivingroom@protonmail.com. And I'm hoping that next episode, I'll have some more voicemails at 604-336-3896. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, within the next 2, I want to get a homie on, to have a guest on, that's someone that's never been on before, but they had an experience where they traveled the world recently, and they recognized a part of them that was maybe left behind there, and I really would love to explore that a little more with them. So we'll see. I'm trying to line that up, but I'm going to be here every 2 weeks, starting now and moving forward. So if you want to hang out, let's do it. If not, let's do it. Anyways, let's do it. Who is this guy, Joe? I can't remember his name. I think I know who it is, but I don't want to be wrong. Being wrong is the worst. All right, Baba Booey, you can flip.